Hi, today I'm going to talk to you a little about some of the luxuries we have in our expediting trucks. In my truck, I do have the toilet, the shower, the sink, which gives me two water supplies, the fresh water supply for the shower and the sink, and I have another water supply for my toilet. So I'm going to go over a couple things with filling the water tank. Now, some of the trucks are different, have different systems. I'll just show you mine and show you some of the equipment that I purchased for this. So I keep this in a big plastic garbage bag in my, make sure you get one of the heavy duty ones. They tend not to rip. Sometimes things are wet. When you put them in your storage box, you don't want everything else to get wet. Sometimes there might be a little water left in them. So what did I get? I got myself one of these hoses that don't kink up. So far it's worked so good. Well, I left it all tangled in here, didn't I? What I bought is some quick connect at Walmart to screw on to my, and I bought a water filter. Let me show you what this is. Boy, it got all dirty last time I used it. It's an RV water filter. Just make sure everything, all the water that goes into your tank is filtered. And sometimes I go to truck stops and it says not potable water. I'll go in and ask the manager, look, is this reclaimed sewage water or is this just city water that's not filtered? If they say it's city water that's not filtered, I'll go ahead and fill my tank with it and use the filter. It's just city water. Pretty much what you're getting in your soda inside the store. So anyway, I put some quick connect. Just screw it on. You can buy them really cheap. One for each end of the filter, and I got one for I got two things. So I got my quick connect here at the end, and I've got a valve, a ball valve. So when it's like that, it's stopped. When it's like that, the flow of water is continuous. So I always make sure it's off when I go to set it up. And I have two hoses hooked together. I also have a third hose, the white one, so I can have plenty of length if I need it. And I have a short hose for my filter. So, first thing I'm going to do is make sure my water supply at the truck stop, wherever I'm using, is actually on. A lot of times in the winter they shut it off. So first thing, before I even get my equipment out, I'm going to check the water supply works, make sure it's usable. I'll get all my equipment out, and in this case, this small key is the one I want for this particular type. And in mine, I have a built-in filter and a valve. This is my air valve. So basically, I'm going to screw this. Hard to do holding the camera. But this turns to allow me to tighten it. And of course it's not as straight. There we go. So I'll turn that. And since I'm not actually filling it, I don't have a water supply where I am right now. I would make sure that's tight. I'll use both hands. And then I would hook the other end of this hose to this water supply. So this is spring loaded. It pulls back in order for me to put it on and off. I hook that together, and then once I start the water, this lets the air out of the tank. So I'm going to turn the water on. Water will come out of this because I've left this on open. Once the water starts to come out, I've gotten the air out, I'll close it until the water stops coming out. Okay. So on this particular truck, now that I'm filling the water, I'm going to wait until water comes out of the emergency bleed, which is on the other side of my truck. So I can see under my truck, the other side, and wait, I'll show you where that is. So on the other side of my truck, right at the corner of the sleeper, And right up there, I don't know if you can see it or not, there's a hose. That's where the water's going to come out. So as soon as I see that water coming out is when I'm going to do something very important. Now I noticed in my truck, if I do not do two things right away, the water is going to completely come out of that drain and siphon the entire tank. So as soon as I see the water, I'm looking underneath here, waiting. As soon as I see that water start to come out, I do two things really quick. Shut off my valve, stop the water supply, and open this back up. And then watch the water come out, and then until the air comes out, I just leave it. So the air is going to bleed. If I wait too long on my truck, oh boy, it's like creates a siphon and all the water comes out of that tank. All of it. So just FYI, if you ever need to drain your tank, I've got another valve up here where I can actually turn that valve, and it will, this is the lowest point in the tank, it'll drain the tank completely if I ever need to do that. Like for the winter, or want something in the tank I want to get out or wash it or whatever. So once I've completely filled the tank, I disconnect my hoses. I'm going to make sure I drain all the water out of the hoses and put them back in the bag. It's always good to drain all the water out of the hoses as best you can so it doesn't make a big mess. So my truck is equipped with a toilet and shower, and really my last truck I didn't have a toilet and shower, so I had a portable toilet which consisted of two parts. Cartridge in the bottom and the toilet part in the top. The part in the top had a water reservoir for clean flush water. The bottom had a cartridge that you would take with the dump. But these buttons here both have to be pushed kind of at the same time, and you pull it open. So I pushed both of these at the same time and pulled it open from the top. I keep a industrial, just a contractor, heavy duty garbage bag, contractor bag in here. And I'll tell you why in a minute. This is the fresh water supply. This is the fresh water supply for flushing the toilet. It's separate from the sink and showers fresh water supply. So, I mean, I don't care if this water is potable or not, because all I'm using is to flush the toilet. So I'm going to unscrew this cap. I'm always going to put this on. So let me tell you, when you're filling this water, using a hose, unless it's on a trickle, very slow mode, isn't good. You really want to fill a gallon bottle of water. This can take about 5 gallons if it's completely empty. Put that on there so the flat side is facing the truck. And so your truck came with a small bottle of Thetford EcoSmart. I'm going to probably find another. I threw mine away accidentally. I'm going to put about 1 ounce. All you need is about 1 ounce. And basically, put the cap back on here. Okay, so I'll put 1 ounce in here of that. It's a deodorizer. And you're going to slowly pour water. Now, if you look here, there's a leveler that rises. When it gets to the top, technically you're full. I found I can get another 1.5 gallons in there after that. I'm not saying that you're supposed to. If you're going into winter conditions, you don't want to have this completely full or use it at all. I'm not sure the correct answer on that. But this does hold it. Well, if you go too fast, it'll overflow. If you use a hose, it will definitely overflow. You got to do it slowly. Now when I fill it until I no longer feel the water coming up to the top. I could still get another 1 gallon or 2 in there, but I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. Just remove this. It doesn't screw in, it just lifts out. Make sure I put this cap back on, threaded properly, sewing it back in place. So I store this right here, but I'm going to show you how you take out the toilet cartridge, and unofficially why I have this black bag. So I've been doing this a year and a half. We're supposed to go to dump stations, either near RV places or rest areas, or some of the truck stops have RV services. So I'm not recommending this. It's not the right thing to do, but it's what I've been doing for a year and a half. I've never had an issue. So to remove the toilet cartridge, you're going to pull up on this, pull out on the cartridge. Now you're going to want to use both hands at this point. This handle is like a retractable handle, like on carry-on luggage. You do not want that handle to retract. I had a previous one where this part was broken. It came like that. It was like crooked, and it would come out. If you weren't careful, the whole thing would drop and break. That's what happened to me. It was a nightmare. So I always use both hands, one on the bottom, one on top. Make sure as you pull it out, it doesn't drop to the ground. So I pulled it out. I have it on the ground, and this is my second one, and both of them I noticed leak a little bit from right here. It usually runs off a little bit when I first put it down. So basically, just like, well, I'm going to push down on the handle, pull up, and wheel it. Now, where am I illegally or not properly wheeling it to? I'm going to the truck stop usually when I take my shower, and I carry this bag with me. I'm not saying this is right. It's what I do. When I get close to the truck stop, I lay out my bag. I roll this into the bag, close the bag around it, store the handle again, and then carry it in the bag so it's not obvious what I'm carrying. I do not leave a mess. Any splashes that I leave that may occur, whether it be on the toilet's rim or the floor, I wipe everything up with toilet paper. I do not leave a speck of blue liquid or mess. I clean up after myself, and I usually will rinse this in the shower head. I'll fill it with water, and when I dump it, basically I'm pulling. Let me see here. When I dump it, I'm pulling this up. This rotates up. This unscrews, and I grab it by this handle. One hand grabs it by this handle. The other hand, while it's inverted, pouring it into the toilet, this green button releases air pressure to allow the liquid to come out, so it's not under vacuum. The firmer or deeper you push that button in, the more product is going to come out of this tank, and the faster it comes out. So you have control over how fast it comes out, that button, by pushing it in. So once you're done, if you're not wearing gloves, you want to wash your hands. I do it in the shower, and I jump in the shower right after. I also rinse the outside of it in the shower. I fill up this 2 or 3 times in the shower by the shower head. I swish it around and dump it in the toilet, usually about 3 times. Not saying what I'm doing is right. It's been working. I've never had anyone talk to me. They kind of look at me funny. And a couple times, I see they're looking at me funny. I'll say, "Where's the laundry?" or "Do you have laundry?" And they don't have laundry, and then I'll say, "Oh shoot," and I'm walking into the shower with my laundry, supposedly. I didn't say it was my laundry, but they probably think that. So that's that. Once it's empty, put this back in. Make sure the handle's in correctly. This is tight, folded down. Basically, just goes in, and there. It's firm. This is locking it in place, and I'm going to put that back. Put my bag back. And lock my door. I always keep this door locked. I don't know what mischievous people are out there want to mess with it. There, and I always lock that back up. If you have one of these, the key is always the one that says Thetford. little black key says Thetford. Probably need to get some oil in here. There's some silicone. There we go. Got that locked. And that's that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of the outside of the truck here. This particular truck has 3 storage boxes. This particular storage box I use for all my personal supplies and also extra oil, windshield wiper fluid, coolant, my hoses for the water supply, and paper towels and stuff like that. This is how you fill the water tank, and my has a fresh water supply. 2 80-gallon fuel tanks. You always want to fill them 5% short of capacity. In this particular truck, the exhaust for the engine is down here. I have an extra box. This is where I keep all my shipping supplies and tools. Extra ratchet straps, furniture dolly. So it's all business supplies. So in this particular truck, the lift gate is operated in a dual function. I do have a power switch inside the cab, so no one can tamper with my lift gate when I'm not intending for it. So once I make sure that master's on, here's my up and down for the lift gate, and I do have a remote operation with a corded remote control which plugs in here. There are steps for getting into the box truck, which you want to make sure they're folded properly away when you're using the lift gate. And I always keep a padlock on mine to prevent anyone tampering with my truck, because I wouldn't hear them going in there. So whenever I am loading my truck at a shipper, and I always ask them whether or not they're going to be using a forklift or not. If I'm not sure, I will retract this, push it in and turn it counterclockwise. I want to crank it down so it almost touches the ground. Then I'll go inside and release the air for the air bags so that it'll lower the truck down. So when they get in my truck with a forklift, they will not damage my airbag suspension. So I always ask, if they say they're going to use a pallet jack, then I don't worry about it. If they are going to be using a forklift, or they might be using it, always lower this down to it just barely touches the ground. Lower your air, and then when you're ready to go, put your air supply back on, and then come back out and lift it up. So in this case, I have a carrier APU. Exhaust comes out here, it's separate from the engine exhaust. And there's engine compartments to check the oil. Normally we don't have to do that. They do that, we'd have it maintained pretty frequently. And I have another storage box here. I have most of my shore power electrical cords, some personal items. I happen to have a grill, wood burning electric grill in there, which I put on my lift gate. I'm going to show you that in another video. And this is the DEF. I usually fill that every 2 or 3 fuel fills. Make sure you never get mixed up between DEF and diesel. I'll put one in the other. This is DEF only. I believe it holds 20 gallons. And I only fill it up every 2 or 3 fuel fills. There's a separate gauge for that as well. Under here are the battery compartment. All the 12-volt batteries, all the batteries are under here, and they're all hooked together. And this basically lifts up for access to that. So there are 4 placards on this truck where you can select limited number of placards. Basically, flammable 3, flammable gas 2. They're very ones. If it's not covered by what's there, you have to use an adhesive one or vinyl one in the other. So I'm going to show you the electrical box real quick. Kind of looks like an electrical utility room in a house or something, except for that piece. That yellow box is the inverter. Uh, Converts everything to AC power. I guess that's how it works, DC to AC. That actually goes through right to our sleeper area. Um, and you see there's some other plugs there. There's switch box, the transfer switches, circuit breakers. I really don't know a lot about it, not pretending to. There are a couple plugs. I guess you could plug things directly into that. I have it and probably wouldn't. And you could also plug things directly. So that's the heater. Um, it's what's the name? S-bar heater, and it runs by diesel. And then if you see that hose there, it's a little too tight. I've had problems with mine. It's not it's restricting the heat going into there and overheating and shutting off in mine. I have to have that hose fixed. But that's your heater. And the exhaust comes out of there. That's really hot. So if you're walking by there and the heater's on and you touch your leg against that, ooh, that's not going to be good. But that's your S-bar heater. That's the only heater we have in our truck except for the one I bought on Amazon to back that one up. So you're probably watching this video because you either just got your truck or you're going to be moving into it, and we had to figure this stuff out on our own. I do recommend you take videos of your new truck to show any damage. I know when I pulled that table down and showed the bed, the side was full of all sorts of marks that were very hard to get out. We had to figure out a lot of stuff out on our own. One of the things, this floor is very poorly insulated. So in the winter, our vegetables and things that aren't supposed to freeze, and then later on it starts leaking water all over the floor. So temperature changes make a big problem. um, Also, don't cover up your vents on the floor. And the other thing is, in the shower, there is, right by the shower head, there is a gnarled knob. I didn't even know it was there. I went out, was going to buy a shutoff valve, but it turns and shuts off the flow to your water on the shower head, so that you can set the temperature, stop it, so you're not wasting water. So you'll have to figure out a lot of this stuff on your own probably. I hope some of these tips helped you. Um, and I hope you enjoy your truck. I'm going to have a little bit of sightseeing videos now. Enjoy your travels.